Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked off by the line. Darius Slay's got it. Coming back right side, 25. Picks up a block at the 30. Darius at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. End zone. Caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones.
Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on, everybody? We are back here on the Fantasy Football Flavor Show, and coming to you here on a Tuesday evening is when this will be dropping. We're still going to stick with that Monday nights for the most part, but ran into a scheduling conflict, and I actually got an announcement right off the top. Just due to kind of schedules, busyness, Chuck's not going to be able to do the show with me anymore. I know a lot of the rumor and innuendo will be that I kicked him off the show because it's 2019 and he still uses a fantasy football magazine that he picked up at Barnes & Noble or Walmart or Dollar Store, wherever he gets those these days. That's not the case. I had a lot of fun doing the show with Chuck. Chuck, I think he's remodeling his house. He's got some kids in sports. He's just a busy man across the board. And it was just hard for him to kind of meet that time frame we were trying to do all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep this show going. I'm going to do it solo. And I've got some plans, some thoughts, some ideas, as well as it's going to give me a little more freedom to kind of do what I want, when I want, be able to record the show kind of at any time, but going to definitely try to have it for you Monday evening. Might be even going up earlier than it has in the past, because normally we'd record kind of Monday night. I quickly edit it up, throw it up, and have it for you guys by 8:30, 9 o'clock. It'll probably be sooner than that. Hopefully I can do it the day prior, whatever it may be, and have that thing ready earlier on Monday evening is kind of the plan right now. But like I say, all thanks to Chuck. He really wanted to talk some fantasy football. We had some fun. It's just time and everything got in the way. I told him, I'd try to keep the show going, and then if he wants to come back down the road, if we can work that out, or maybe periodically he can jump on. I'd love to still have him on when he can do it. But for the most part, you guys will be getting me talking fantasy football once a week here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast on this Monday fantasy football flavor type show. So I'm still looking forward to doing it. Hopefully you guys will still tune in. I still got lots of content I want to bring you. I'm going to come up with some gimmicks, some segments. I'll still have the soundboard at times, but I'll also be a one-man crew here. So, I may turn on the mic and just want to quickly talk football for 30 minutes with you and get you guys up to speed on what I'm thinking fantasy football-wise. So that's the quick update off the top. The other thing I just want to mention is I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if I'm falling apart. I've had back issues, neck issues. I've been sick, and you can hear my voice is still a little rough. I got this cough going, so if I cough in the mic, if I sound odd last week and even this next week or so, that's why. And I don't know what the heck's going on, man. I haven't been sick in forever. It's tough to do 3+ podcasts a week when you're hacking up a lung and not feeling well. But like I said, I'm powering through it. I apologize for some of the audio quality, but wanted to let you know that off the top. And yeah, it's going to be a little change up for the show. But like I say, hopefully you guys will dig the solo content I'll be bringing you, all types of stuff like that. So I got some great things here for the show today. What we're going to do off the top, me and Chuck tried this last week, I'm going to give it another whirl this week, is the 2-minute drill. In the 2-minute drill, it's going to be kind of like the news and notes that we do on the Koolaid Cast, where I kind of tell you what you just saw or things that pop up to me of what happened previously before we jump into this upcoming week and kind of my projections of things I think will happen or people that you need to have in your lineups, things like that. So I do have some music queued up, and this music is about 2 minutes long, so I'm actually going to try to play this music, knock out my updates, info, things I want to talk about, and get out kind of right when this music ends. So we'll see if I can hit this on a one take here right off the get-go. So let's break the huddle for the second ever 2-minute drill right here on the Fantasy Football Flavor podcast. So last week, Mike Evans went cuckoo. 8 catches, 190, and 3 touchdowns. Oh my, that's going to win you most fantasy leagues. No doubt, no question. If you had him in your lineup, you got a dubski, I'm pretty sure. Alvin Kamara doing Alvin Kamara type things. 70 plus rushing, 90 plus through the air receiving. Got in the end zone twice. I mean, this guy just looks silky smooth when he runs, catches, everything he does looks crazy. It's all about him staying healthy and for them to use him. Use this guy across the board. He's incredible. My man, Deshaun Watson, 351 and 3 touchdowns. He continues to just be absolutely incredible, as well as get blown up every third play, too, when he just stands back there and gets crushed. But, man, when he stands back there and avoids pressure and throws the football, it's a beautiful thing to watch. He's incredible. If you had him, he probably did well also. Pat Mahomes keeps doing his thing. That's a weekly deal until he comes to Detroit this Sunday. We might have a little something for him. We had some injuries. Saquon Barkley is going to be out for a long time. 6-8 weeks is probably what it's going to be. That's really going to hurt a ton of teams. Julian Edelman went down. I'm not totally sure on the severity. And T.Y. Hilton, who's a guy having no lineups I never have on my team, is out as well. And, man, I got jobbed in 2 of my fantasy leagues. My Detroit Lions team I told you guys about, I lost because Jordan Atkins, like the 3rd or 4th tight end for Houston, decided to blow up out of nowhere. Cost me the dang week right at the end. Man, and I also caught an L in another league I like because my boy Baker Mayfield decided to throw a pick on the final play of the game. Cost me 4 points. I lost by 4 points. Unbelievable. Crazy week in fantasy. Pretty much nailed it. I mean, that's 2 minutes. I got in what I could get in. You guys know what happened. You know who blew up there. You want to hear about the upcoming week. And then now with the redo of the show, I really hope to do maybe some more Lions segments. I know you guys want to hear Lions content, Detroit Koolaid drinkers out there, as well as, like I say, I'll just come up with some other fun stuff to do each week. So we're going to take a quick break for our sponsor. When we come back, we're going to be talking about like guys you might want to pick up. I'm going to dive deep into the Detroit Koolaid Cast Fantasy League, which is what, heading into week 4 now, almost a quarter way through the season. I'll talk about who's doing well in that league and, detail some things I noticed with my squad as well. And, we'll talk about some matchups, some games you want to keep your eye on here for the NFL schedule coming up starting on Thursday. So everybody will take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is your typical radio ad while eating a Crunch Bar.
This is Automatic of Otto's Used Cars. This weekend only, we're having a whale! Bring the kids. See for yourself. It is huge. Gonna make a big splash. No other dealer can say they have a whale like this.
When things sound dull, turn up the fun with Crunch.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is,
"Thank you for calling. Please listen to your list of 46 possible service options."
Which is why when you choose USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable. 24/7 online service for claims, access to roadside assistance, and more. All at the touch of a button. Start getting the service you deserve. Get a quote today. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
All right, everybody, we're back. So I know one thing. I mean, I'm getting the show to you on Tuesday. Normally, I'm going to get it to you on Monday. The biggest thing people want to know is kind of like, who do I pick up? Everyone want to work the waiver wire. This is my quick take. Like, I'm not really a big waiver wire guy. I mean, I'm not rushing there. I'm not putting in a ton of claims across the board because I'm the guy that wants to hang in there with my draft for the most part. I'm the guy that doesn't want to give up on a good talent because he had 2 bad weeks out of the first 4. It's still early when it comes to that perspective. So I'm telling you, kind of hold on to your people. Don't be that guy that's dropping an ad and left and right. The most annoying thing in a few of my leagues, I got a few buddies, few people I know that they just drop an ad like it's going crazy, and they actually do decently well at it, which is even more frustrating. So they'll make it into the playoffs and start playing these bumsky quarterbacks that are somehow in, or they might have a third, fourth receiver that somehow has a good matchup and he'll actually do well that week, and like I say, help them win fantasy weeks, help them win fantasy championships, which is crazy to me. But like I say, it is an important part of your team too. I mean, if you got injuries, if you got other things that are sort of hurting your outcomes, yeah, you need to be on the waiver wire and sort of pick up some of these guys that have either elevated due to injury or have just played well consistently. Like when people start going 3-4 weeks where they're playing well, it's not necessarily a surprise at that point. It's more of a trend. So like I say, these are some pickups I think you should at least consider. I just wrote down a few names. This is one guy I've had in a deep dynasty league for a few years, and I don't think I've ever started him. He just kind of sits there in depth in my team, but I've always liked his talent, kind of from day one, coming out of college, real kind of unique talent, and went to kind of a weird spot as well as a weird spot in the draft. But DJ Chark's a guy that, gosh, man, he was interesting in the draft process. I remember Daniel Jeremiah being real high on him, but man, this guy flew up the draft board and pretty high in the second round to a team like Jacksonville who already had a bunch of receivers, so no idea where he was going to fit in the process, but he kind of went really under the radar as a rookie. Had a little bit of buzz, and here he is kind of just multiple weeks in a row now, blowing up with, probably over 70 yards and a touchdown, I think, in multiple weeks. I want to say he's almost had a touchdown either 3 out of the 4 or every week. So, like I say, this guy's big. He's got long arms. He can run routes. He can catch. They throw it deep to him a lot, which is good. DJ Chark's a guy that looks like he's taking either that number 1 or number 2 role in Jacksonville. And the reason I bring his name up is he's probably not on many teams, especially in a 10-team standard league or an 8-teamer. He's probably out there. So I'd add him before others do, and before, like I say, if he keeps this up, there's only D.D. Westbrook pretty much in his way to targets, and I think he'll be good. So DJ Chark's a guy I'd go consider now as an option on your fantasy team. Now, the second name I have here is another guy I liked in college, but kind of just went to a tough spot, and he just has a unique skill set. Wayne Gallman over there with the Giants. I mean, Saquon Barkley, Saquads as they call him, is going to be out for multiple weeks with that high ankle sprain. And Gallman actually played pretty well. If you ever watch him, like when he gets in, he does some decent things in the run and the pass game. Now that he's the featured guy, they obviously traded Paul Perkins to our Lions, which we'll see if Paul Perk has. Hopefully we'll get to see a look at him soon, and hopefully he can help the Detroit Lions. But Wayne Gallman, I don't see too much in the way of carries. I was even thinking today, like maybe C.J. Anderson lands there, or somebody, off the street, running back goes there to give them some depth. But Wayne Gallman, if he gets the rock, obviously the running back is a pretty important position in that offense based around Saquon being in there, so I'd see him being featured in a lot of different ways, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives you kind of that running back output that you see when it's a team that has a stud running back. He goes down, the next guy up isn't terrible but isn't great, and he comes in and does some decent things. So, I could think that based on matchup, if you want to go ahead and grab Wayne Gallman, if you've got some banged up running backs, he might be a play depending on who they're going against, and might want to see him for a week, kind of see what he does and see how he fares. Next name on my list, and again, I was hesitant to even put this on here because, quarterbacks in fantasy football are so devalued, as well as if you're in a smaller league, you should kind of be covered in this area, but this Kyle Allen guy in Carolina, I didn't know much about him, and I kind of was looking at him in some deeper leagues that I have. And when I was reading up on him, like, it's kind of crazy. He's got some real top pedigree. I want to say he was like a really top, maybe the top recruit coming into college. I mean, I read some things that he actually ran. I think it was Kyler Murray off one of his teams where they were competing, and he actually beat out Kyler Murray. Then he goes first NFL start, just beats up Kyler Murray again in Kyler Murray's house. I couldn't take more joy out of that. I got to tell you, that was tremendous. But I think this guy can do some things. I mean, he's no stiff coming in there at the quarterback position. Lots of buzz, lots of good things I'm reading about him. And I think Cam Newton's just done. I've been on this for a while where Cam Newton, right when he came out, when he was scoring all those running touchdowns and just had that absolute swagger, I was all on board. I thought this is like a quarterback I've never seen in my life. Now I'm definitely more on this guy's beat up. He's way more about, wearing headdresses and wearing these kooky hats and glasses than he is about playing the quarterback position. So, I mean, I could see him just being done in Carolina. Maybe getting a change of scenery would help Cam Newton. I don't know, but that's my quick take is that, Kyle Allen could be much better than expected, and he could be the guy, I think, in Carolina. If he plays a few good games here and Cam Newton gets a bad attitude or continues to be beat up, they might just go with this guy and kind of try to build a good team around him. Already pretty solid. Got some young wide receivers. Christian McCaffrey's obviously incredible. You've got always seem to be a solid defense down there in Carolina, so keep your eye on that, no doubt about it. So if you're in a deeper league or you're really hurting at quarterback, this might be a guy you could pick up not only for a couple weeks, but maybe he's playing the rest of the year. We'll see. Philip Dorsett is a name I put on my list. I pretty much love any New England receivers because you look back at the history. I mean, the GOAT, Tom Brady, just has always made just nothing receivers good, right? I could just go down the list. It's incredible. But Philip Dorsett had some absolute crazy juice coming out of college. I mean, he is electric route runner, super fast, got taken higher than, he should have to a team he probably shouldn't have, with Grigson taking him over there in Indy. But it took him a while, I thought for sure, too, when he went to New England, I didn't think he was the best, the best fit there. Just based on his past track record and kind of what his game was. I thought he's more of a, I don't even know how to describe him, just kind of like electric when it came to speed and ability, but not a guy that could fit in that type of system or that type of structure. But he seems to really be a reliable receiver now, and it depends. If Edelman's banged up, or I read some things Josh Gordon's a little banged up. I mean, Philip Dorsett already has 2 good games, I want to say, this year. I mean, first game was crazy. I think he went for well over 100 and a touchdown or 2. I think he had another touchdown or 2 here recently. So it's not like, hey, he might be good or he might put up some numbers. He's already put up some numbers. And I'd expect that probably to continue if he gets opportunities. You just don't know how things are going to shake out. And then, of course, Antonio Brown going absolutely crazy. I mean, I took this guy in one league where I really needed him. I thought I got him at a good value. I thought he'd blow up in Oakland. You've heard me on the show earlier say Antonio Brown's going to be incredible. Then he goes to New England. I say, oh, if he can get his head right, he's going to be incredible. This guy's nuts. I mean, he's lost his mind. I mean, it's went way too far. There's something wrong with this guy. He needs help. And I don't see Antonio Brown playing anywhere in the NFL this season or maybe ever again. So with him out of the picture and with some other people banged up, Philip Dorsett's a guy who I think you can go out, get for cheap, get on your waiver wire, and probably play in the right matchups because Tom Brady just throws it to who's open and makes plays that way. So those are just a few names. Obviously, there's tons of others that I'd say go out and get. But I wanted to hit on those as we got going with the show. Now, this is what I really want to dig into. The Detroit Koolaid Cast Fantasy League. Now, this was a really late in the game idea that I came up with. Man, I'm trying not to cough everybody in the mic, but like I say, you can tell my voice is a little rough. I came up with this idea. It was probably only a few days before the season. Shouted everybody out on Twitter. You guys were incredible. You jumped right on it. I made it a 20-team league because that's as big as ESPN would let me make it. And within 5-10 minutes, I mean, this sucker was full. You guys came strong, filled it up. The draft was fun. I was a little distracted doing a bunch of different things during the draft. Unfortunately, other job responsibilities, but still got an okay team. You know, in a 20-team league, it really changes where you draft running backs, wide receivers, QBs, all that type of stuff. And QBs, kickers, defense is really thin. So if you didn't get any, you're pretty much hurting. So a lot of unique things from that perspective, but it's been fun. Like I say, I think I came out the chutes and got beat by my buddy. I lost to my buddy right off the top there, and that hurt. And then I came back in week 2 and got a big dub. And in week 3, Team Conrad and my buddy, the Big Hughes, who you've heard on this show, was talking mad noise about how he's just going to smash me, and he had got fortunate, very, very fortunate, as I like to say, or very lucky, we can put it that way, that he beat me in a couple of our other big fantasy leagues that we do. But he just thought he's going to walk through the fantasy football flavor in this league. But no, not the case. I ended up beating him up by 30. So I'm sitting there at 2-1, middle of the pack in the East Division. We've got, not surprising, the Detroit Lions up at 3-0.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
If I'm going to say Detroit Lions are 3-0, 3-0, I mean undefeated, top of their division in this fantasy league, and our Detroit Lions are 2-0-1 in real life, I mean, you think I'm not going to play this soundbite?
I'm undefeated, never lost.
I mean, that is going to continue to be played until somebody can deal with the Detroit Lions on the NFL field, and somebody's got to deal with Detroit Lions in this Detroit Koolaid Cast Fantasy League, because 3-0, I mean, you got them at 3-0, and you got Frank Ribble. Frank Ribble, don't think I don't have a sound clip for you too. I mean, really, Frank Ribble, you're 3-0, really, 3-0, really.
Wow.
So we've got Detroit Lions and Frank Ribble. Wow. Up at the top of the West Division in the Detroit Koolaid Cast Fantasy League. Over in the East, we got the AB Couch Coach. Been talking mad noise, Couch Coach on Twitter, saying how good your team is, and you're just smashing people, and you already got it circled on your calendar when I come to play you, I think in like week 6 you said, and how you're going to beat me and this, that, and the other. I mean, easy fellow. Okay, you won a couple games. I mean, congratulations. I mean, I know you're at home doing the Rod Allen. Woo! I mean, you're over there like acting, using my AO soundbite every time you win.
Oh, baby!
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if later in the year injuries start hitting you and other things start coming up, and I don't know, you're probably doing some of this.
Struggling.
So don't think I'm not coming for you, AB Couch Coach. And then we got Go Pack Go up at 2-1. Again, another guy from one of my big fantasy leagues who had himself a good draft and did well. And hey, look, it's Team Conrad down there at 2-1 as well, kind of basically tied with me, or kind of right in that same range, that I am after I took him to the woodshed and beat him up by 30. I mean, while I was beating him, game after game, player by player, and as the scores kept going up, I just kept saying this.
Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide, baby.
So, Conrad, that's for you, buddy.
Hi there. It's your boy Conrad down here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, well, how'd you like that loss down there, Team Conrad in Huntsville, Alabama there, Hughes-ski? Sorry I had to beat you and your favorite caller, Conrad, but that's how it goes, man. So, Detroit Koolaid Cast Fantasy League is good, man. Like I say, it's 20 teams. It's hard to know everybody's roster, but got some top teams there. Got a few teams. I guess I got to call them out. Mouse Rat. I mean, 0-3, not looking too hot. We got 0-16 doing absolutely that, living up to their team name with 0-3. We've got I got my buddy frequent on the Twitter machine and on the Koolaid Cast Listener Line, Tampa Paul down there at 1-2. I thought he started out well. I thought he had a big win off the get-go, so he must have took 2 L's in a row probably, because he's down there now at the bottom. And we got the Detroit Koolaid Cats at 0-3 as well. So those teams have some work to do. Let's scroll down here. ESPN actually has a season stats. So it looks like the top team overall, again, not surprisingly, is the Detroit Lions in this league. AB Couch Coach is number 2 ranked. You got Frank Ribble, the Q Master, hanging in there at number 3. And then you got me down here at number 9. You got Team Conrad at 8. And since I already sort of made fun of him on the show, I mean, I had to do it here. So Chuck with his, Priest Holmes covered magazine, his record, where's he at in the standings here? The magazine is at a putrid 1-2 record. He is down here at 13th out of 20th overall. So, like I said, just another reason not to use a magazine in 2019. The computer is the way to go. I mean, like I said, I think Chuck missed the memo about 2 decades ago. Maybe he's still on that flip phone or something. But like I say, that should be a fun league. Probably gonna get heated as we continue to have games and continue to go. But like I said, it's a fun one. My team is heavy on wideouts, kind of short on running backs, but I'm making it work, even though like my whole offseason, all I did was tell you guys to load up on running backs, have all that depth. And then when the draft came, I flipped the script because I thought everybody would know that, and I went with receivers best available. And we'll see how it works out for me. So like I say, I think I'll be in the mix at the end, and if I get in the playoffs, that's really when things matter, when it's all said and done. So fun league. Thank you all for joining. That should be good times. Let me go ahead and hit you up with a few matchups to watch for this week. There's a lot of good matchups across the NFL slate, and some good fantasy players in those matchups as well. So the ones I've kind of circled in my head, or I'm going to be interested to watch and keep an eye on fantasy-wise, the Eagles at Green Bay. I expect that game to be kind of up and down. I could see Aaron Rodgers having a big game there at home and kind of having one of those primetime games where that's all they talk about is Aaron Rodgers and him throwing off the back leg and all this other bull crap. The Eagles are obviously still really beat up. Took a big L to our Lions, but I could see them having a bounce back and kind of, finding a way, Carson Wentz, working his tight ends and kind of figuring a way to put some points, keep that game close. Next one I had here is Chiefs-Lions. The high-powered Kansas City Chiefs coming in to play the Detroit Lions wearing the old-school throwbacks. I think that's exactly what kind of game it's going to be. New school offense versus a ball control team that's going to try to hold it. So, we'll talk all about that on the Wednesday and Friday Koolaid Cast, but I see that game being closer than you can expect. I know it's easy to say the Chiefs will beat the Lions, but I think it's setting up kind of nice where if the Lions are ever going to beat the Chiefs, I mean, right now at home, the way they're playing, their health, and the mojo they have, this is kind of the time to do it. So I'll keep an eye on that one, no doubt about it. We got the Cowboys at the Saints. I mean, 2 big-name teams, Sunday Night Football. That's one that you got to keep your eye on. Dak Prescott's been incredible. Zeke Elliott, I traded for him in one of my big leagues. All he's done is put a $100 in a touch basically all year. Guys like clockwork. The Saints, have that backup quarterback situation, and I don't know. Everybody still thinks of them a high-powered offense, and Kamara did his thing last week, but they could be in trouble, as regards to scoring points and being able to deal with that Cowboys D. So keep an eye on that one. The Cleveland Browns against the Ravens. Man, my guy, Baker Mayfield, sure let me down in more ways than one. Again, coming up short late in the game. I can't say his offensive line or his play calling and rest of his team did him many favors, but to just look so bad there at the end of the game, not be able to get it done was tough. And now you're going up against a Baltimore D who's always tough. And Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson, is still getting more pub than he probably deserves. Okay, he's been good. He's played some good games. He's a unique talent. still not putting him up in my top 5, top 8 quarterbacks. I mean, he'd be in there around that 10 range for me, with the upside to blow up, based on his running ability and some other things. So, see what happens there. We got the Pats and the Bills in an undefeated matchup. I think that one's in Buffalo, so, Buffalo fan will be going crazy. Bills Mafia up there will be going nuts. And Tom Brady will probably walk in there and do what he does, which is just probably put up 300 and 3 touchdowns and walk out of there with a W. The last one I had on my list was Vikings and the Bears, an NFC North matchup, as Chris Berman would say. Lots of good skill players on both sides of the ball there. I could see Kirk Cousins having a good game, being able to throw the ball around a little bit. And the Bears, I mean, I don't know. The Bears will probably try to get their running game going. They probably like to see more from David Montgomery, as well as maybe get Tariq Cohen in space and let him do some things. So that's kind of just a real quick synopsis of what I see. But like I say, hopefully you guys are all enjoying your fantasy leagues. I mean, get those lineups in, have fun with it, let the chips fall where they may. I mean, like I said, I could definitely be second guessing a couple moves this week that cost me W's, but overall, like I said, I think I chalked up. That's probably at about 80% again with W's, but those couple losses has still killed me. It was like, if I would have just done this, or if this guy wouldn't have done this, I'd been undefeated for the week.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
Thank you, LeVar. I got to get that in. And, hopefully when the playoffs come and when everything's said and done, I mean, I'd love in a couple of my big leagues to be
I'm undefeated, never lost.
Bringing home some hardware this year. So hopefully you guys will as well. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry about my voice. I'm struggling to get through this podcast. Looking forward to the Wednesday and Friday shows talking Lions, even though I'll have to deal with Grifka. But those should be fun as well. So thank you, everybody. Once I get this voice taken care of, we'll be doing solo shows, having some fun, getting you some fantasy football each week, as well as 2 Lions podcasts is the plan. So thanks, everybody. Take care. I'm out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.